How's it going, Tinker Nation? This is Tinker Master Tech, and now I've got my name badge across the front here. Today we are going to start our newest project. I've been doing my forge and things like that for a while now. Now I want to actually melt down different metals to make my handles or to make little table ornaments, just general things. But I have come up with a design of my own and Tinker Master Tech fashion, things I've got laying in my yard or something I picked up at the trash dump. Speaking of which, here's the bulk of our project. Now I don't know what this used to hold, but it doesn't say flammable on it, and I've done been grinding on it, and I'm still standing here in one piece, so I guess that's a good thing. But it's some sort of like a Freon tank, but it's really tough. Same as a propane tank. You can use a propane tank if you want to. I didn't want to. I'm having a hard enough time finding a used propane tank just to go turn back in. But if you got an extra one laying around the house, you can use it just as well as I'm using this. But this is the right size for what smelting and all I want to do. So what I've done so far, and I'll show you, and then we'll go through the process of actually building this thing. We're going to do this video a little bit differently. Me and my video editor / cameraman has been going through some different ideas with this, so we'll show you from there. I'm going to step forward just a little bit and let you see. Alright, this is where the handles used to be. Now what I've done is I've already went and cut them off. They come out of the loop and back, just to carry the canister. I've already lopped them off with my cutoff wheel, and I've cut off the center of this. Now before you do this, make sure you read all your instructions on here. Make sure it doesn't say flammable. If it does, you need to let out whatever gas is in there, and I'm enough of an idiot when it comes to that till I would hold a match to the end of it just to see if anything crawled back. I don't suggest you doing that. Figure out a way of getting all the gas out. I'm going to take this here. I'm going to actually grind this and cut this the rest of the way off, because this here is just, this plate is welded in with the nipple that was on here. So I'm going to grind this off flat, and once it's flat, then this should just pop right off. I'm going to cut me a small hole so that way if I have a crucible meltdown, that my actual molten metal will come out the bottom here. Alright, also, if you see the pretty blue line around here, what I've done, now let me go back here so I can get some of these things to show you. I've used a triangle, and I've actually went 3 inches from the weld line that they put on here, and I went 3 inches all the way around, made me a mark, and I put me a piece of blue painter's tape. That way you make sure you get it straight, because this up here is going to be your lid. Also what I've done is I have took a monster can, the large monster can. I've got one sitting over on the tailgate. I'm not walking back again. I have took and used a pencil, laid it down, and went around the upper end of this. Reason for that is that's the biggest can, aluminum can, that you're going to actually be putting down in this crucible if you're melting aluminum. If you're melting bullet shells, whatever, you can just drop them through the top. I have made a similar, you can't see it as well, but there's a hole right here. It's not cut yet, of course, but that is for my actual torch tube. This here is my actual torch tube. Now I'm going to put this in the side at an angle. Where'd my hole go? It doesn't matter, it's still showing you. I'm going to put it in an angle, and the reason I'm doing this is so no molten metal, if it was to blow out, it's not going to try to come back up this tube. Plus, if I put it in at an angle this way and then rock it back, what's going to happen is that torch is going to make a circular pattern on the inside. It's going to hit the walls and crawl the walls. That way you get a perfect heat all the way around. But that is that part. Now, the lid, once I do this, I'm going to actually make a set of hinges out of an old bed frame, the angle iron off of a bed frame. I was just going to buy, a regular metal hinge and put here, but that thing's going to wear down over time. I can make something heavier duty out of old bed rails. and you'll see that once it comes up. And like I said, this video is going to be a little different. We're going to add pictures in as the process is going. Now this here is my handle. And what did I tell you? Tinker Master Tech fashion. Tinker Master Tech fashion. We use what we got. So if you notice, I can't tell how far I am from the camera, but if you notice, nice wooden handle. Don't know if that's going to survive from heat, but if we insulate this properly, that's going to survive just fine. I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to cut it here, and then we're going to weld this right to the top of this tank, so I got something to just reach and open. Now, I've watched a lot of people make these things, and I personally have watched them do it in their front yard, in the grass, on the table at the house. I don't want to have to bend down or be squatted on the ground to do this. So what I've done, that back there is a 1973 Winnebago. This here is a 1986 Toyota pickup. I have stole the Winnebago's hubcap. This would be the base. Alright, now my cameraman, if he gets it in focus here, that's the base. Now this is the muffler off of said Toyota, and I'm getting a birdie through at me here. We'll censor that out. We'll put it like a little censor label or something over his finger. This here is the muffler that used to be on here, which now there is a Ninja 250 muffler on here because this one end rotted out. Screen is not the one we ended up using. In actuality, we used one that came off of my anvil that I had in the yard. Reason being is because the Winnebago hubcap just did not hold up the weight after the plaster of Paris was added to the forge. So you'll see it at the end of the video. We got pictures of it. Just if you're going to do it, add you a more substantial pedestal, because the plaster of Paris really adds some weight to this. There'll be a second video showing you the firing of this, but at the end of the video you'll see the main form of it. You'll see some bits and pieces of video in between this, but either way, let's get to it. Seeing me doing right here, I'm actually cutting out the hole in the lid, which I've done a horrible job.
You really need a hole saw to do this, but instead I just used a stick welder and turned it up. Well, it made a god awful mess, so I had to go back in, grind, and shape that lid properly. Also, I was welding in the side tube, so just make sure you got the proper tools for the job, regardless. But at the end of the video, you'll see how I patchworked this lid because I thought I'd done a good job, but it was also so dark I couldn't really see. Okay, everybody, what you see here is the new lid that I built for it after all the recording to help hold in the heat. Um, but it turned out great with that, and I was able to fix where I messed up cutting it with the welder. The handle's welded on and all, and now you see a view from the top portion of the plaster of Paris and all being put in. After it was put in. Um, there's the new pedestal I was telling you about midways of the video. That one is a whole lot stronger. It don't have no wobble or anything in that order. Um, Now that's with the lid completely off. You can see that there's a nice thickness there, so that way, it'll hold back the heat. Now I haven't got the hinge on the lid yet, but it's propped up there, so you'll see what it looks like with the hinge opened up and with the new handle on it. And there's the last view. Like and subscribe to our videos, and keep an eye out for the next video where we're actually firing it up.